Good evening, everybody. I'm Alderin from AlderinGames. I'm working on this Node SQLite Database Manager. Basically, I wanted uh, an easy web-based method to just work with an SQLite database. You know, maybe change values, maybe update tables, simple things that if you have MySQL or MariaDB, you can use phpMyAdmin, and you can create tables and you can alter tables. You can do everything you want to do with the database with a simple web-based form without having to you know figure out all of the SQL magic to make it happen. uh, so I started this project. uh, I just started it. Basically, I figured out how to get the table schema and list the tables that are in an existing database. Uh, what I want is for I want to build it so that anybody can include it in their Node app. Basically, they can make an endpoint to go to this, and then this can take care of what they need to do with their database. And then I definitely want it to be easy to disable, because you don't want it enabled during production use. You only want to enable it when you want to make the changes. That's just basic security. So that's what I'm going to get into. It's so what I've done so far. Server.js is from Glitch's just basic Node server, basic SQLite Node server. It didn't actually provide any web interfaces, so all of its endpoints return JSON like this. Their default configuration had the SQLite JS here, and I made a bunch of changes, put in a bunch of notes, so that they just created one table called messages with an ID. It's an integer and a primary key and auto increment, and a field that's message that is a text field. So if you look at this JSON, it has a bunch of these extras. And if I go to server, you can see all of this is from the root, and it's pretty much just written out routes.endpoints. Endpoint, that's interesting. Add hook on route options. Routes.endpoints.push. That's a new one to me. But that's what this is. It explains, get data's title, intro, and then routes to endpoints, and then it just sends the data. So this JSON object that has all the routes with the endpoints. So put message, delete message, etc., etc. That is all defined down here with Fastify. That's output there. But what I want to do is what I have done is I made a get tables and get table schema. Which is basically, select name from SQLite master, which apparently is an internal name. It's already there. And then where type equals table. So it returns that. And then table schema, you have to specify the table name that you can get from this. And so what I want is another endpoint that pulls that in. But I'm kind of confused how to do it quite right, because what I want, a lot of this is also left over from the example that I pulled from Glitch. Yeah. So it explains all the things that are already in the endpoint, and the ones that have the lock need to have the admin key. What I added here is in your end file. You should create the DB file, and that's the DB. So when, instead of the default here where it says DB file, is that what it should be? Where'd I go? Is this. So in here, that should be that. Wait, no. It's process.env.db file. That way, even in open source, the information that's in the env set is sort of locked away. If you come up here to env, these are separate. I also wanted an active false. That should be like db active. SQLite admin active. I haven't used that yet, so it doesn't matter if I change it. And so if I add a variable, it's going to be db file, and it's data db. So that's what it should look like. And these are saved in a separate path from the normal source files. Hello, Jethro. Meow. Meow. Meow, meow. Mm-hmm. Meow. Mm. Meow. Ugh. Meow. Mm. So let's see if I have any errors. Doesn't look like it. And it adds these things just as test messages in the message database that they use as an example. But the main idea is I want an endpoint. So you can say if authorized. That's good. So it's still a lot that I need to learn. Get messages. So if you say there's nothing. And get root is what we already had. The one possible way to implement the SQLite administration is to have SQLite admin as a separate DB object. I don't know, man. It's hard. Maybe I need to stop coding in the middle of the night after I've done everything else already. It's almost 10 o'clock. And, you know, streaming late at night on the West Coast isn't the greatest idea to get viewers, because, well, if it's 9:30 here, it's 1:30 on the East Coast. No, it's just 12:30. But yeah, people probably already watched what they're going to watch, or they are watching what they're going to watch. Unlikely to be flipping around to me. But hey. So I want both fastify.get SQLite admin and put so map both get and put, but the different functions like how functional do I want an individual page of response to be? Because I am good with making the web browser a client process. I'm sure you might have seen with my other system that this is pretty involved, but it's also only one way. This is a display for the information that's in the database. And there's no interactivity directly with this page. It's just a display. And it finally got around to loading the data. It's a separate step. And then now it loaded the update, which gives everybody all their scores. And then there's everybody. It's got some physics to it so that things don't collide and they kind of all just want to be in the middle. And, yeah, it's good. It works, but that's a lot of code on the client side that the server doesn't really care about. So I have no problem putting a lot into the client. Yeah, just dump everything onto the client that you want. I mean, because this page, it could display, okay, it could display the database name, display entries for all existing tables, give create table option. But those display entries You can have a hidden div. Can show all the data in the table. To do paginate data. But even all of that data that is in the database could be dumped onto the client in one page and just be hidden until you click the drop down to open it up. And even searching could be done all on the client side. So the table creation dialog needs authorization. Actually, whole thing needs authorization, right? You don't want just any random person coming in, opening up your database and reading everything. But this is a put endpoint, right? So if you're going to create a table, that is a put input. Put as opposed to a get. It's a put endpoint. So the dialog itself should have an authorization field. So like in order to submit it, you need to put in the admin password. Is that smart? Is that frustrating? Not sure at this point. So got a dialog for creating a table. H row tab edit button edit dialog needs auth put endpoint. Each row to have delete button. Confirm dialog needs auth delete endpoint. So I need a put endpoint, a delete endpoint, another put endpoint. And they should all begin with SQLite admin. They should all be modifiable. I guess anybody can dig through any code, right? And make the changes to the endpoint names that they want to make. I like to make that kind of thing easier on the end users. But let's just continue down here. So if we're not going to use a template system, because I don't want to interfere with anybody else's template system by having to require another template system in place. How do we go about outputting? Let's say fastify HTML output. Fastify object. That's a bunch of functions and properties. Could be plain text, buffer, JSON, stream, or error object. It does not say HTML. And if you set content type, pass a string, serialized. If on a set, sent unmodified. so that should send a plain string, which means I can do anything I want. Okay, it's interesting. It definitely looks like Fastify was built with the idea of using a template system. Built with the idea of using a template system, which kind of is frustrating. What if I don't want to do that? What if I just want send HTML? It's like everybody requires something else, Fastify or Express. It's just so many things piled on top of other things. What happens if somebody else is using a different pile? So if I want to have something that is widely available to anybody, no matter what pile they're using, why is it so hard to make something simple? we're doing it in glitch, everybody's going to have Fastify, right? I guess it won't be as easily drop in and plug and play as I wanted it to be. Only that's going to be a put too. Because I don't know how to make a client web page make a delete request from a browser. Add row. Function button. Button. Yeah, button. And dialog. Needs auth. Put. And put. Add. Each of those dialogues, which is going to be programmatically generated based on the data in the database already, it's going to already have the table name in the request. So that's just going to be part of the form. It's hidden, it's submitted, it'll show up. So that's not a big deal. So we'll know which table it's talking about when you go to edit, or when you go to add, or when you go to delete. But then with table edit, table remove, and table add, so you can add a new table, which you're going to supply the table name. You can edit an existing table, which is going to already be a displayed table, so clicking the button to edit it will already know that table's name. And then table remove, when you're trying to delete a table, that's also already going to know the name of the table that you clicked on to remove. And so all of these endpoints are going to need to be filled in. But I need to make the page generation in the get of SQLite admin. Actually, it should be in the put. It should be in both. No, it should be in put because of authorization. So all that goes there. And this is login dialog. And that's really all it needs to be. Okay. I've got some good outlines here. Honestly, I didn't realize how late it was when I started this stream. So it's really catching up to me now. I guess, you know, it was kind of late. And then we watched Thor Ragnarok to prepare for watching Thor Love and Thunder tomorrow. It's not exactly the latest Thor movie to watch before watching the next one, but it was a fun time anyway. Yeah, well, it's 10 o'clock-ish. So I'm going to leave this as it is for now. It's good to have it outlined anyway, so that I know where I'm going next. Yeah, I've got these guys. You just have to fill in the blanks, basically. And from what I understand, there's some stuff out there where AI can fill in these blanks, and it's just me having to tell it what to do. At least that's on the horizon, if not already around for some people. And that would be fun to explore at some point, but not tonight. Tonight, I think that's going to be it for me. But I hope you had fun. Yeah. If you watch this after I've, you know, posted it somewhere, great. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in chat next time, live. But then I didn't even schedule this, so how would you have caught me? Things that happen. It's life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'm Alderin. Doing AlderinGames. This isn't really a game, but anybody who's using SQLite, once this is usable, will actually be useful for anybody who works with SQLite databases online. Probably takes minimal effort to switch it to some other system other than Fastify. So it's going to be open source. It's going to be available for anybody. Well, with that said, thanks for watching. Have fun. Catch you next time.
Amazon